So, welcome, Lauren. Thank you for coming into this podcast. I feel very excited to interview you and to ask you questions because I've been following you on Instagram, and everything you write about the feminine is really speaking to me. And I find it so rare that a man can feel and understand the feminine the way you do. So I'm really honored to have you here. And do you want to introduce yourself a little bit to the audience?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for your kind words. And I'm a deep intimacy coach and writer. So basically what I do, to put it into one sentence, I help men and women understand masculine feminine dynamics in order to experience deep intimacy in their life. And deep intimacy is not just related to having great sex, it's related to all the dynamics in a relationship. So it's creating trust in a relationship, having beautiful interaction.
So I want to ask you a question because I read on your Instagram that you used to be like a fuck boy and then you turned into more awakened masculine. So I want to understand how this shift happened in you. What did you realize? Like, what was the seed of that? Like, what happened?
I believe this is a very great question. So what happened basically was, on the outside, I was living the life that so many people would celebrate, right? In a superficial way. Many of my friends would say, wow, the way you can speak to women and all of that. And from the outside, people loved it. People cheered for me. People told me, whoa, you're such a Casanova. This is what I heard all the time. The way, how can you do this? How can you just go to a woman on the street and just talk to her? And I loved the validation. I was really desperate for that validation. But deep within, I felt so miserable. So miserable. And the more women I dated, the more I felt out of integrity. And this is such a big thing. I mean, I could talk endlessly about this, but to make this very short, in order for a man to feel truly confident, he needs to be in integrity. And dating countless of women, I wouldn't say that I was manipulative, but being a gigantic asshole is not being in integrity. So even though people cheered for me, people told me how amazing it was, that on a superficial level, I was kind of happy, but within I felt so depleted. Shifting out of that was very, very intense. I had to face that I wasn't the cool guy that I thought I was. I wasn't that cool, charming guy. I was actually highly insecure. I was a gigantic asshole. And to face that was terrifying. And that is why a lot of men who are stuck in this fuckboy identity have to almost believe, they almost have to sabotage themselves into the belief that this is great, I'm doing something amazing, people are cheering for me. But deep down, it's not great. It's not genuine. So when I started to face and clearly see through my trauma, my shadows, my wounds, that is where the shift happened. Because when you truly see where you're out of integrity, when your awareness truly shows you, then I believe then there is no other option than to either suffer tremendously or to shift yourself into expanding consciousness.
So you would say that the fuckboy persona is like a mask to avoid being authentic and to avoid feeling and to not actually face the weakness that is underneath that mask.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. And it's so easy to be a fuckboy, right? You are just shutting down your emotions. You are dating women who are probably very insecure, because a highly awakened woman wouldn't be with just any fuckboy, you see? And it's it's hiding behind a mask. It's an easy life. And I see this in clients who come to me from that perspective, realizing that it's actually much harder to be an authentic man, to be an awakened man that takes genuine work, that takes consistent looking into the mirror, working with your wounds, doing the deep inner work. Vulnerability. The fuckboy isn't vulnerable. He's totally cut off from vulnerability. Vulnerability is scary. So to put this into one sentence, fuckboys are highly traumatized and insecure people. And once a fuckboy realizes I'm highly traumatized and insecure, it's no longer cool. He needs help. He needs therapy or a spiritual teacher or a men's coach or whatever. And that's where this whole persona fades away and this mask crumbles.
Okay, yeah, very interesting, because I think many women are facing that at the moment, falling in love with men that are not emotionally available, that are not treating them nicely and playing them. So it's nice to understand where it's coming from. Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe I believe it's always a two-edged sword. It's not just the fuckboy who needs to do the work. The woman who constantly attracts a fuckboy also needs to do some work, because clearly she is not creating the boundaries and calling in the sacredness that she deserves and yearns for.
Yes. So can you speak about your perspective of the feminine? How did it shift? How did you start to see the feminine as a crazy wisdom, like something more, you know, like illogical, but wisdom? Yeah, I don't know how to describe it.
I know exactly what you mean. It's actually not easy to answer this question without becoming vague, but we grow up as men with this belief that women are crazy or hard to understand. And at least this is the kind of conditioning I've received from older peers and mentors. Of course, they weren't proper mentors. They were not initiated. The kind of conditioning I received was, when a woman goes through her period, she is crazy. When she is illogical, she doesn't make any sense. And this is the kind of conditioning I received. So I believed that, and I dismissed the feminine in that way. I was like, yeah, women, whatever. I just do whatever the fuck I want. They have no idea anyway about. Not that I thought that consciously a woman has no idea or is illogical, but they were all subconsciously within me. And I don't know how it exactly happened. I would say there was heartbreak in my life and really facing my shadows. It just, my heart started to crack open, and I realized that the women I have hurt, I could feel the pain so strongly. I started to feel how much havoc I have created by showing up entirely out of integrity, not coming in with a pure heart and conscious intention. And when I felt that, that was kind of the portal where I would call it consciousness started to flow through me. And I started to receive all these teachings that I teach these days in an embodied way, and they keep flowing and coming. I don't know where they're coming from. I don't know how I know these things, but it's just happening. And I believe the root of it was my heart cracking open and me seeing really clearly, you fucked up, man. You really fucked up. So now, and then, I'm a very radical guy. Like, when I have something in my mind, then I'm gonna fucking do it. And I made that decision. I'm done. I'm done living such a life. I'm done living a life of mediocrity, locker room talk, talking about how many women I fucked. I was done. on all levels. And when I made that decision, that's when I started to see the feminine in an entirely different way and started to experience these downloads of these teachings.
So you would say it came from your heart, like you had this deep sorrow and pain, and this awake you.
Yeah, that's one way to put it, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that pain really awakes us when it comes from the heart. Like there is some crack and the light enters, and then we cannot live the same way we used to before.
Yeah. And I believe I can add something here. There is a beautiful saying, I believe Justin Baldoni said it. I would rather believe a man who has cheated in 3 marriages to give me relationship advice and has changed, obviously, not still cheating in marriages, than someone who has been in 1 relationship and just been there. And I believe what he was referring to was the guy who cheated, fucked up again and again and again. Not that this was great what he was doing, but through that suffering, through this enormous being out of integrity, you have this great opportunity. Not everyone takes it. Some people stay stuck in their victim story and keep going forever. But if you really clearly see the suffering, like you said, then you have a choice to bring your deepest and most authentic and unique gifts into the world. So, as the masculine, you are the energetic leader of creating a safe space, energetic space for a woman to surrender, to let go. Because at least all the women I work with, at the deepest level, a woman yearns to fully surrender. And surrender is not a passive act. Surrender doesn't mean you chill on the couch and you're like saying, hey, I want some chips or whatever. No, not at all. Surrender means that it's the most deepest spiritual act. It's not passive at all. It means you surrender everything to the universe. You open your heart and everything. You transcend everything. So, for instance, when a woman constantly attracts a fuckboy, she can surrender deeper than her yearning. She can surrender deeper than her anxiety around not attracting a conscious man. And when she surrenders all to the universe, that's when she ignites her most radiant feminine and sensual power.
What do you mean by completely surrender and open to it? How, I mean, it's very vague to understand, and it's like an experience. You have to feel it, so it's hard to describe with words. But like, for instance, if this woman keeps on attracting fuckboys or emotionally unavailable men, like how she can, what does it look like? She opens to what? She just surrender, she just give up, she just, I don't know.
It's a great, but surrender is not giving up. This is the thing. A lot of people associate surrender with giving up and being passive. The surrender of the awakened feminine doesn't mean that you attract a fuckboy and then you surrender. That's going to end in a catastrophic disaster because he is not able to hold the space safely, in integrity, consciously, with his full presence, with his full heart, for you to surrender. The surrendering is more an internal process. So I know what you mean by this sounds so vague. It needs to be an embodied experience. And the best way to describe this is the feminine, especially being hurt and going through so much suffering for so many decades, has built this armor around the heart, which is a normal reaction. Because I mean, I get it. If you constantly are with men who can't hold the space, at some point you're gonna guard your heart. But surrender doesn't mean you just surrender to everyone. Surrender means you go deeper than that. And surrender is a fierce act, because when you truly open yourself to the universe, you are being protected. You are being deeply protected. So it's this combination of you open, but at the same time you are guided by your ancient warrioress spirits. And this is the difference between, quote unquote, I am surrendering to a fuckboy, which has nothing to do with that, but I'm opening myself. I am being a highly radiant woman, but I have clear boundaries. And that's the important thing. There need to be clear boundaries around your surrender. So when you attract a fuckboy and you realize he can't hold the space, you get out of there. You give that person your sacred no.
Mm-hmm.
But I totally get what you're meaning. It's definitely not easy to describe surrender, because you have to have an embodied experience of what it means to truly surrender to the masculine and be held safely by the masculine. You see?
Yeah, it's hard to find masculine that we can fully surrender to in this
Yeah.
age. Like, I hope
Yeah.
it's coming that there will be more men that we can open and feel safe with and let go and surrender to. But for me, it's very hard. Like, I feel the out of integrity, as you said. I feel that I cannot fully trust. It's hard. It's hard to, yeah, to let go.
Yeah. A woman wrote recently on one of my posts something very similar along the lines of, I want to surrender, I want to let go, but the man I meet can't hold the space.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this age in society, it's so difficult. And while there is a part of me that says, yeah, it's difficult, but I'm gonna say something very provocative right now, and I am a very provocative guy. It's still an excuse in some way to say I can't surrender because men can't hold the space. There is a way to go deeper than that, a way where you are not dependent upon a man holding the space. And that is when you go to that space of, I surrender fully, and either I attract a man who really can hold the space, or I'm not interested. That's when the man comes, usually.
Yeah.
And it's very intense, because it's basically going against our own biology, right? It's the feminine yearning to have a masculine, to have a man in your life who is the energetic leader, who takes care with his consciousness of your heart, who is there for you, who holds you in times of hardship. It's so strong, but it's so easily, because it's so strong, can become obsessive or gets mixed with all kinds of wounds we have experienced in our childhood. The work is to transcend that. And when you transcend that and go deeper than that, a place where you literally are, all right, I know who I am, I know my authentic core, I want to deeply surrender, and I'm just gonna be that woman, that sensual goddess, and until that man appears into my life. But I don't need that man to appear in order to be that woman. You see, I can be that woman even beforehand.
I
And
see. But it
this is so
also,
important. Yeah,
go
keep
for
going.
it.
And this is also a kind of victim story, if you think about it. Well, but all the men, they can't hold the space now. I can't be free, I can't be happy, I can't be sensual. You can. It's not easy. Is it challenging? Yes. Are many men not holding the space? Yes. Have women been traumatized for decades? Are women still subconsciously suppressed? Yes. Yes to all of that. But staying there, we need women who transcend that. And that way, you are so protected. You are so protected when you truly transcend, when you transcend your yearning to have a man, and you're like, when a guy comes in your life, he can't hold this space. You're like, fuck that bullshit. I am no longer interested in that. I will not compromise for something like that. And when you get to that state, that's first of all, that's where you get protected. No guy can hurt you anymore or make you suffer, because you have this really strong, I call it warrior race spirits that protects you and guides you. And I know this might sound vague in many, many ways, but I wish people could have that embodied understanding which I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's basically really like opening and surrendering to the yearning and use it as a fuel to, yeah, to open and to be more radiant and transmute it. I feel, yeah, as a feminine, we have this capacity to turn poison into gold, and we are like alchemists, and we can do that through our body. So, yeah, I feel that. But it's still not easy when you in front of a man that is beautiful and charming and all this, and you want to connect, you want to, I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, it's hard to face reality, to see, okay, this person is not able to meet me even though I have this yearning. But
Yeah, no, I totally feel you. I feel that. And this is something I really have to say. It's my intention with these teachings is the highest path. It's not the path of comfort. It's not the path of, yeah, I'm just going to live a happy life, ha ha ha, and have some fun. It's the highest ultimate path of deep intimacy. And every person has to decide for themselves what they want in their life. And it might sound very radical, but it's totally fine to have the intention, I want to have fun, I want to experience and explore myself sexually, but the chance is high that you're going to suffer and get hurt. Or the other choice could be, I only want the highest and deepest intimacy in my life that I know and yearn for, that I know to be true. And many people don't make that choice, Lua. Many people don't make that internal choice, because what does this choice mean?
to die.
It means, well,
to like surrender and to like rebirth.
yeah,
And like it's just
exactly.
very intense.
Yes, yeah. It's very intense, because you make a stand in front of the universe. You're like, universe, I'm done. Give me the best, or go fuck yourself. in a funny way expressed. But that's where the universe listens. That's where we start to really experience the deep intimacy that I teach men and women, and that I'm so passionate about, because it's a hard path. It's not easy. I won't say it's easy, because it's not the truth. It's hard. It's motherfucking hard. That's where I said, going against your own biology. You go against your own biology. We all have this yearning for social contact, for intimacy, to get touched, to have sex. I mean, if I see someone, I don't have a yearning to have sex, well, I don't think that you're telling the truth. We all have a yearning. At the deepest level, we want to be touched. We want to be witnessed. There is this story, this study which has been done of two monkeys who weren't fed for many, many days. I don't know what exactly it was. One monkey, and the mother was taken away as well. And one monkey got food after many, many days, and the other one just got like a kind of doll that looked like his mother. And the monkey which got the doll and no food and was starving lived longer than the other monkey. This shows us everything.
Need
social
contact.
contact. We need that contact, especially romantic relationships, right? Because friends are amazing, but I guess you're not having sex with your friends. I mean, hopefully not that people are doing that. At least I have very clear boundaries when it comes to that. But who knows? Everyone should do whatever the fuck they want. But with friends, you can have this really beautiful intimacy and connection and talk. But with your intimate partner, it's a whole other level. And that's why there is so much suffering, you see, because it's the deepest yearning. And trust me, how many people do I meet who come to my coaching practice and literally tell me, my business is running perfectly. I earn all the fucking money I want. I'm so on purpose. But when it comes to intimate relationships, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I constantly attract emotional unavailable men, or I constantly attract women who are avoidant or needy. And I hear this all the time. Now, what does this tell us? This tells us, and this is at least my radical approach to life, the spiritual journey is all about the ability to create deep intimacy or to invite deep intimacy into your life, because it's what we yearn at the deepest level. We want to experience, we want to be accepted, safely held, and loved for who we are. And no amount of money, no amount of success can be any better than that. There is no feeling stronger, more powerful than that. And that's why people suffer so much.
Okay, yeah. And I want you to explain a bit what is intimacy for you and what does that mean when you have a relationship with someone, when you start to have sex with someone. What is rising? What is happening? Like, is it just to be happy to be in a relationship, or is it something else?
To be happy in a relationship, I would say, is very superficial, or a superficial word. I don't like the word happiness that much, to be honest, but that's my own interpretation of it. Your partner is your spiritual teacher. Your partner will provoke the deepest wounds you have and also the deepest joy you have. I see people constantly saying, yeah, my partner, my wounds. Yeah, but what about the joy? They also bring out the joy in you, your radiance, your beauty, the things you didn't even know about yourself. Relationships are the greatest spiritual teacher. They are the true guru. I would rather be in 20 relationships and learn from them 20, this is bullshit what I just said, but I would rather go through very powerful and deep relationships than to meditate on a mountain with some guru. Because, I mean, what am I meditating about? You know, my wounds are not being triggered. But if you are in a deep relationships, you really, and this is what the feminine does, the feminine is always a mirror of your consciousness. And the more, especially the more awakened a woman is, the more radical and fierce she will mirror you, your wounds. And obviously also the masculine will mirror the feminine, its wounds in many, many ways. And this is the highest path. The highest path is to be in union, to melt two worlds together, the two worlds of trauma, conditioning, subconscious pain, sexual trauma, all kind of trauma, and to become one in that, to find shelter, to create the deepest intimacy, love, and sex that is available to us.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, not everyone is choosing this path, that's for sure. Most people see it in a very superficial way, just to be happy and just because, yeah, they don't see it as a agent for growth, as like a mirror of like you described.
And
Yeah.
that's what you get when your intention. I still hear people telling me, I hope I find a partner to be happy. When I hear that, I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. this is the mindset to suffer. You are going to suffer again and again because we get lessons from the universe again and again, especially in intimate relationships, until we fucking get them, but really get them on an embodied level, not just intellectually. You can understand your intellectually your wounds and shadows in your relationships as much as you want, but you need to have an embodied understanding of what it causes, the effect of it, and everything about that. So when you go in with the intention, I just want to be happy, have good sex, and live a nice life, you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer because, first of all, your expectations are not going to be met because no motherfucker can make you happy in your life. Not that you only make yourself happy. Well, people can bring out joy in you, but what do they bring out? Your joy. They don't give you joy and say, here is joy. They bring joy out of you. And that's the beauty. It's coming from within. It's an inner experience. So when you are with a man who really holds your space, he is not giving you joy or making you happy. He is providing a space for you to feel your own joy, your own beauty, your own sensual goddess, right? That's a total paradigm shift to understand this at an embodied level like this.
Yeah. And I love the way you describe the divine feminine as the fierce also, because we have this image of the feminine being very soft, very gentle and sensual, but this fierceness is what really makes the woman awaken, because she's able to say no and to take no bullshit. So can you talk a bit about this
I
embodiment?
love your questions. I really love the questions you're asking. They're so really, really deep and important questions, Lua. Softness and tenderness, as you said beautifully, are often associated, right, with weakness. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to say something really, really intense right now, as I always do, basically. But I am more afraid of a woman's tender blades than of a guy who's muscular and running at me. Because the guy I can see, I can confront him. I'm using, of course, a metaphor right now. He attacks me, I can see it. I can do something about it. But a woman's tender blades, well, that is a different story. You don't see it. It's like, it's this beautiful dance and she allures you into pure heaven and bliss. And suddenly, the blade, not into your heart and she's trying to kill you, no, but into your shadows, cutting deep into your ego. It's so sharp. It's so fierce. And now I'm going to say something even more provocative. Women don't need to have the appearance of a very muscular man, because an awakened woman is energetically so powerful that she literally doesn't need to be physically highly strong and tall or something like that. She can be so fragile, so elegant, because she is so powerful from within. And when a woman can cultivate that fierceness, no man can fuck with her. He can't even get close to her. Her energy is like a shield or not a shield or a bridge, an initiation, a protection, all of that. But here's the thing, there is a story of a shaman once said he knew a really sensual woman, highly sexy. He said it in a more conscious way. And she walked on the street in very dangerous districts. Now, I'm not saying that you should wear hot pants and go through the Bronx or something like that. I'm not saying that you should do this, by the way, but she did it. Never anything happened to her. And he said the reason why is because she was energetically so fierce and so protected, so authentic. And this is the metaphor that goes back to the surrender. When you truly surrender as the awakened feminine, that's when you initiate into this fierce warrioress as well, that really is able to just cut through the bullshit. Cut through the bullshit.
Yeah, beautiful description. I love it that actually the tenderness and the softness is so piercing and so, yeah, so melting, basically, that it's so powerful just this way. It doesn't need to be strong. It doesn't need to be warrior-like. It can be very soft and tender.
And very soft and tender can be warrioress-like, right?
Yes.
It's not that they are different from another. It's not that we associate warrior with fierce and brutal.
Yeah.
But it can also be tender. You see, it can be soft, it can be elegant, but very, very piercing. I like the word you used, yeah.
And so you would say that it's, I still try to feel this energy of this awakened feminine that is like, that is disarming, maybe, like she's melting the masculine. I wanted to ask you also, how do you view sex? For you, what is happening during this act? Is it a spiritual awakening act? Like, I would like you to describe a bit how you view sex.
I mean, sex is an interesting example because it can be pure suffering and just playing out a script. Like literally nothing can happen. You are just pressing some bodies against another. Nothing is really happening. Maybe both have an orgasm and that's it, right? It will be the least awakened state. That would be the first stage of consciousness while having sex. That is, most people experience that still. It's like nothing really happens and it's just, it kind of feels good, you know, it feels just nice and you just do it out of the, you want to feel good, right? And then you can go into deeper levels where you start to understand that there is more to it. And now I'm going to go to the highest level. What is the highest level of sex? The highest level of sex is that you have such intense energetic orgasms that literally you go into the deepest meditative state, at least that I've ever experienced in my life. So it's literally the deepest meditation you can do. Sex is pure, blissful, ecstatic meditation in motion. And it's totally up to us, because how deep your sex is reveals how deep you are, how deep your consciousness is. So if your consciousness is totally stuck in scripts and I would say unawakened lifestyle or living, then this is how your sex life is going to reflect it. But if you are a very deep person, deep on the journey, doing the deep work, then you will experience amplified depths in your sex. And it sounds to many people like a fairy tale, that you can have sex and have these 5, 10, 15 minutes deep meditative orgasms, energy rushing through your body. But it's the truth. It exists. You can experience it. I experience it for myself, and I have taught it to many clients as well. Does it take training? A shitload of training. Is it easy to guide sexual energy up your spine and to develop an enormous amount of sensitivity in order to consciously harness that? Well, yeah, you can't do that in one day. Again, the same question like before, what do you want? Do you want to feel good during sex? All right, you just have sex. Do you want to train yourself? Do you want to experience the deepest sex that is available in this human experience, well, it's going to take some work, but the work is worth it. It's rewarding, because it could be described as this: you become empty of thought, even empty of emotion, because emotion is still an experience in this human world. It's not that you go out of the human experience, but you are experiencing the pure bliss and ecstatic freedom of no worries, no attachments, no fears, no self-sabotaging, no wounds, no trauma, no shadows, and you are just dissolving into this blissful and incredible, beautiful space. That is how I view sex.
Yeah, thank you for this description.
It was a pleasure.
Do you have some words to close the space that you feel called to say, or?
We need another to make this work. It's not just the rise of the feminine. It's not just men becoming more conscious. We are dependent upon another. A woman cannot surrender if the masculine doesn't hold the space safely and presently. And a man cannot go deeper, or a man cannot penetrate the world fully unless a woman surrenders fully to him. So we are much more dependent upon another than we think. And instead of always trying to be so independent and I'm not attached and I do my own thing, we should start, in my opinion, see the beauty of how beautiful it actually is that we can only make this work together in union, to be unified. And this is the ultimate intention of my work, to help people experience deep intimacy and this union. And from that energy, you just heal the world entirely, in my opinion.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for everything that you shared. I feel really honored to speak with you, and I'm looking forward to read your book coming and everything that you're doing. Like, I'm really in love with your work, with you. Like, you're amazing. So I'm so honored and touched.
It was an honor, and I really enjoyed to be on the podcast with you.
Thank you. And so people can find you on your website?
You can literally find me everywhere.
Okay.
Just type in lorincren.com in Google search. But my two main platforms, social media, are my podcast. You can just also type in Lorin Kren. It's currently called the Awakened Masculinity Podcast. I will change the name at some point, but you can find me as Lorin Kren. My website, lorincren.com. And I've got a deep intimacy masterclass happening at the 28th of November. So that is on my website, and Instagram. My Instagram is one of my main platforms as well. Just the handle is @lorincren. That's it.
Okay. Thank you so much.